Michael Wittmann was one of the most famous tank commanders of the Second World War. From his humble beginnings on a Bavarian farm, he rose through the ranks of the Waffen-SS to command the feared Tiger I. A legend, but also a figure wrapped in controversy. Was he truly an unmatched ace, or the creation of Nazi propaganda? This is the story of his rapid rise, his fateful final battle, and the lasting debates over his place in history. Michael Wittmann was born on April 22, 1914, in the Bavarian village of Vogeltal. He grew up in a farming family, shaped by the rhythm of rural life. Like many young men in post-war Germany, his childhood meant hardship, discipline, and the expectation of serving the state. In 1934, at age 20, Wittmann joined the Reichsarbeitsdienst, the National Labour Service. It was compulsory, meant to teach discipline and provide labour for state projects. For Wittmann, it was a stepping stone toward the military. Later that year, he volunteered for the 16th Infantry Regiment of the German Army, starting his formal service. By 1936, Wittmann had transferred to the Leibstandarte SS Adolf Hitler, originally formed as Hitler's bodyguard unit but soon expanded into a full military formation. His enlistment in the Leibstandarte marked his entry into one of the most loyal and elite branches of the Nazi regime. Wittmann initially trained as an infantryman, but soon shifted toward armored vehicles, where he found his calling. During the invasion of Poland in 1939, Wittmann served with the Leibstandarte and got his first taste of combat. The campaign was swift and brutal. His role was small, but it exposed him to modern mechanized warfare. The next year in France, he operated a light reconnaissance vehicle, the Panzerwagen. When Operation Barbarossa began in June 1941, Wittmann and the Leibstandarte moved east into the Soviet Union. He now commanded Panzer III tanks, facing both Soviet armor and the vast expanse of the Eastern Front. Barbarossa tested Germany's armored forces like never before. For Wittmann, it was the crucible that began shaping his reputation. Even in these early battles, his ability to adapt and lead under pressure stood out. By late 1941, Wittmann was known as a capable and daring tank commander. The stage was now set for his transition to the Tiger I, the heavy tank that would make him a legend. In the early years of the war, Wittmann proved himself as a skilled commander of light and medium tanks. But in 1942, the German army introduced a new weapon that would transform both his career and the battlefield, the Tiger I heavy tank. With its thick armor and powerful 88mm gun, the Tiger was designed to dominate Soviet armor and give German forces back the edge they had lost against the T-34. Wittmann was among the first to train on the Tiger, and soon it became his battlefield partner. By late 1942, Wittmann moved into Tiger operations. He joined the SS Heavy Panzer Battalion 101, attached to the Leibstandarte. The Tiger was not like other tanks. It required slow, deliberate moves and close crew coordination. Wittmann thrived in this role, showing both technical skill and bold tactics. During the Third Battle of Kharkov in early 1943, Wittmann's Tigers were thrown into action against advancing Soviet formations. His unit claimed large numbers of enemy tanks destroyed, though the exact figures remain contested. What is clear is Wittmann's reputation. He stayed cool under fire, striking quickly, then pulling back before the enemy could react. The real test came in July 1943 at the Battle of Kursk, the largest tank battle in history. Wittmann commanded a Tiger platoon in the southern sector, where the Waffen-SS led the assault. Reports credited him with dozens of Soviet tanks and vehicles destroyed. German propaganda seized on the numbers, painting him as a model Tiger commander. But historians today question these claims, noting that battlefield reports often exaggerated kills for morale and propaganda. Still, Wittmann's actions at Kursk and later battles pushed him into the ranks of Germany's most decorated tank commanders. On January 14, 1944, he received the Knight's Cross of the Iron Cross, one of the Reich's highest honors. Soon after, he was awarded the Oak Leaves, further cementing his status. By late 1943, Wittmann was more than just a tank commander, he was a symbol. To his comrades, he was the daring leader who pushed his crew and his Tiger to the limit. To the Nazi state, he was a propaganda figure, the embodiment of technical superiority and individual heroism, even as the tide of war turned against Germany. By the summer of 1944, the war had reached a decisive stage. The Allies had landed in Normandy, and German forces scrambled to contain the invasion. Wittmann, now an SS Hauptsturmführer, was deployed with the heavy SS Panzer Battalion 101, positioned to counter the British advance inland. On the morning of June 13, 1944, near the village of Villiers-Bocage, Wittmann seized an opportunity that would make him famous. Spotting elements of the British 7th Armoured Division, the celebrated Desert Rats, he launched a sudden attack with his Tiger I. In less than half an hour, he struck deep into the column, destroying tanks, half-tracks and supply vehicles. Accounts vary, but German reports claimed over 20 vehicles destroyed in the action. The impact was immediate. The British advance was halted, and the episode became one of the most dramatic armoured clashes of the Normandy campaign. For the Germans, it provided a rare local success at a moment when most news from the front was grim. Villiers-Bocage was quickly magnified in importance, with propaganda describing it as proof that a single tiger and its commander could stop an entire division. Newspapers, radio broadcasts, and newsreels celebrated Wittmann as a national hero, the very embodiment of German resilience. His face appeared in recruitment posters, and his name was used to inspire both soldiers at the front and civilians enduring Allied bombing at home. The Allies, however, offered a more cautious interpretation. British records suggest the losses were significant but not as overwhelming as German reports claimed. Some historians argue that Wittmann benefited from surprise and the poor positioning of the British column, rather than unmatched tactical genius. Others counter that even under favourable conditions, his boldness and skill can't be denied. For Wittmann personally, the ambush transformed his life. He was awarded the Swords to the Knight's Cross shortly after Villiers-Bocage, an honour reserved for Germany's most distinguished officers. His photograph appeared in newspapers across Europe. Soldiers and civilians alike knew his name. In the mythology of the German war effort, Michael Wittmann became the embodiment of the Tiger tank itself, powerful, unstoppable, and feared. Yet fame carried its own weight. For the Allies, Wittmann was no longer just another tank commander, he was a target. His name was on the lips of British and Canadian crews who knew they might one day face him on the battlefield. For Wittmann, every action that followed Villiers-Bocage would be judged against his legend. After Villiers-Bocage, Wittmann's reputation was secure. He was celebrated in German propaganda as the Tiger Ace who could hold back the Allies, but the reality on the ground in Normandy was stark. By late July 1944, the German front was collapsing under relentless Allied pressure, and even the feared Tiger tanks could not turn the tide. On August 8, 1944, British and Canadian forces launched Operation Totalize, a major push to break through German lines south of Caen. Under the cover of darkness, the British and Canadian troops advanced and seized the high ground near the town of Saint-Hénin-de-Cramonil. There they paused, waiting for a massive aerial bombardment that would signal the next phase of the attack. Unaware of why the Allies had halted, SS commander Kurt Meyer ordered a counterattack to recapture the ridge. Wittmann led a group of 7 Tigers from Heavy SS Panzer Battalion 101, supported by Panzer IVs and self-propelled guns. His tanks rolled out across open ground toward the Allied position, but they were heading straight into an ambush. To the northeast, British tanks from the 1st Northamptonshire Yeomanry and the 14th Regimental Royal Armoured Corps waited in the woods. To the west, Canadian Sherbrooke Fusiliers had set up at a chateau courtyard, firing through holes blasted in its stone walls. The ambush was devastating. Canadian tanks knocked out 2 Tigers, 2 Panzer IVs, and 2 self-propelled guns. British fire destroyed 3 more Tigers. In the chaos, Wittmann's Tiger was hit on its upper hull, igniting the ammunition inside. The explosion engulfed the tank, blew its turret into the air, and killed Wittmann and his crew instantly. The question of who fired the fatal shot has remained one of the enduring debates of the Normandy campaign. Some credit the Northamptonshire Yeomanry and their Sherman Firefly. Others argue the Sherbrooke Fusiliers were responsible. Still others believe Allied aircraft may have struck the killing blow. Historians continue to weigh the evidence, but no single version has been universally accepted. The destroyed tank and its dead crew were hastily buried in an unmarked grave. In 1983, the German War Graves Commission located the site, and Wittmann and his men were reinterred together at Le Carme Cemetery, alongside more than 21,000 other German soldiers who fell in Normandy. His grave remains a site of interest, though it has also drawn controversy due to his service in the Waffen-SS. In the decades since his death, Wittmann's legacy has taken many forms. For some, he is remembered as a brilliant tactician and a symbol of the Tiger's battlefield dominance. Popular books, documentaries, and video games have reinforced his image as the ultimate tank ace. Yet historians caution against such a simple narrative. Wittmann was part of the Waffen-SS, an organization directly implicated in war crimes. His fame, they argue, owes as much to Nazi propaganda as to battlefield reality. The debates continue today. Was Michael Wittmann a genius commander or a soldier elevated by myth? The answer is complex. What is certain is that his name remains one of the most recognized of any German soldier in World War II, a symbol of both battlefield prowess and the power of propaganda in shaping memory. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching. We hope you found this video informative. If you enjoyed learning about today's topic, make sure to check out our other videos. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and hit the notification bell to stay updated on more World War II content. And we'll see you in the next one.